What if the smallest thing in your life is actually the beginning of something far greater than you can imagine? What if what looks insignificant today is already carrying the power of transformation for tomorrow? And what if the kingdom of God doesn't arrive with noise, but grows quietly, invisibly, until it changes everything? In Luke 13, verse 18 to 21, Jesus uses two simple images to explain something eternal. He speaks about a mustard seed and a small amount of yeast. At first glance, these are ordinary things, easily overlooked, almost invisible. But in his teaching, they reveal how the kingdom of God truly works. He begins with a question: what is the kingdom of God like? What shall I compare it to? Then he answers with a seed, a mustard seed, one of the smallest seeds known to the people at that time, easy to ignore, easy to underestimate. Something that seems almost meaningless when held in the hand. But Jesus says something unexpected about it. A man takes that seed and plants it in his garden. Over time, something remarkable happens. It grows, it expands, it becomes a large tree, so large that birds come and rest in its branches. The transformation is not immediate. It is not dramatic in the beginning. Nothing about the seed suggests greatness at first, but within it is a hidden potential that only time reveals. This is the first picture of the kingdom. It does not begin with size, it begins with smallness. It does not begin with attention, it begins with planting, and it does not become what it is instantly. It becomes what it is through growth. There is something deeply challenging in this image, because human expectation often looks for immediate results. We tend to value what is visible, what is large, what is already impressive. But Jesus is pointing to something different. The kingdom of God often starts in ways that are easy to dismiss. A small decision, a quiet prayer, a simple act of obedience, a moment of faith that no one else notices. And yet, within that small beginning, something far greater is already forming. The seed does not look powerful, but it carries power. It does not look influential, but it contains transformation. And Jesus is showing that God's work often begins in ways the world does not recognize. Then he moves to another image: yeast. A woman takes a small amount of yeast and mixes it into a large amount of flour. At first, nothing seems to happen. The yeast disappears into the dough. It cannot be seen. It does not draw attention. It is hidden. But over time, something changes. The entire batch of dough is affected, slowly, silently, completely. The yeast spreads through everything until the whole mixture is transformed. This is the second picture of the kingdom. Not only does it grow like a seed, it also spreads like yeast. It works from within. Not loudly, not visibly at first, but thoroughly and inevitably. And this is where the message becomes even more powerful. The kingdom of God is not only about external growth, it is about internal transformation. It does not just expand around us, it changes what is inside us. It enters quietly into ordinary life, into thoughts, into decisions, into character, and over time it influences everything. Jesus is revealing a pattern that is easy to miss if we are only looking for dramatic moments. God often begins with what seems small, but he never stays small. The mustard seed becomes a tree. The yeast transforms the entire dough, and the same principle applies to spiritual life. A single moment of truth can grow into lifelong transformation. A small step of obedience can reshape direction. A quiet conviction can slowly influence an entire life. But the process requires time and patience and trust in what cannot yet be seen. One of the challenges in understanding these parables is that they do not match human urgency. People want immediate evidence, immediate results, immediate confirmation that something is working. But growth in the kingdom often happens below the surface first, like roots before fruit, like preparation before harvest, like silence before change becomes visible. The seed does not sprout instantly into a tree. There is a hidden season where nothing appears to be happening, but underneath, life is forming. The yeast does not transform the dough in a visible instant. It works slowly, quietly, until everything is affected. This hidden process is where many people lose patience. They assume nothing is happening because nothing is visible. But Jesus is teaching that the unseen stage is part of the process, and often it is the most important stage, because it is where strength is built, where depth is formed, where true change begins. The kingdom of God does not rely on outward display at the beginning. It relies on internal reality that grows over time. And this changes how we view our own lives. There may be areas where you feel like nothing is changing, where growth seems slow, where prayers feel unanswered, where progress feels invisible. But these parables suggest something deeper is happening than what can be seen. The seed is still in the ground. The yeast is still working in the dough, and what is hidden today may become undeniable tomorrow. There is also another layer to these teachings. The mustard seed does not stay small. It is designed to grow. The yeast does not remain separate. It is designed to influence. This means that what God begins in a person is not meant to remain static. Spiritual life is not meant to stay at seed stage. It is meant to grow into something that provides shelter, strength, and influence. Jesus describes the tree where birds come and rest. That image is not random. It shows that what begins small can become a place of life for others. A single act of faith can eventually become a source of encouragement for many. A single moment of obedience can grow into impact beyond what was imagined. And the yeast image shows something similar. Transformation is not only for personal growth. It spreads, it affects relationships, decisions, perspectives. It reaches areas that were not intentionally targeted, simply because it has become part of who we are. This is how the kingdom works: quiet, persistent, expanding, not always noticed in the beginning, but impossible to ignore in the end. Jesus is also challenging a common misunderstanding about spiritual power. People often expect God's work to appear impressive from the start, but he is showing that true power can begin in the smallest form imaginable: a seed, a pinch of yeast. This means that what appears insignificant in your life may actually carry divine potential. Something you are overlooking might be the beginning of something far greater. Something you are underestimating might be exactly what God is using. And this requires a shift in how we measure importance. We often measure by size. God often measures by potential. We measure by visibility. God measures by growth. We measure by beginning. God measures by outcome. And between beginning and outcome lies a process that cannot be rushed. This is why trust becomes essential. Because you cannot always see what is happening underground. You cannot always feel what is being transformed within. But that does not mean nothing is happening. It means growth is in progress. The mustard seed does not question the soil. The yeast does not resist the dough. They simply do what they are designed to do, and over time, transformation becomes visible. Jesus ends these parables without dramatic conclusion because the process is still ongoing in life itself. The kingdom is still growing, still spreading, still transforming hearts quietly across the world. And the invitation is not just to observe this process, but to participate in it, to allow small beginnings, to trust unseen growth, to value what appears insignificant, and to remain faithful in the early stages where everything still looks small. Because what is small in the hands of God is never insignificant. It is only the beginning of something greater. And in time, what was once hidden will become visible to all. The seed will become a tree, the yeast will transform the whole, and the kingdom will be seen in fullness. Not because it arrived suddenly, but because it grew faithfully, from the smallest beginning into something unstoppable. And that is how God's work continues today, quietly, powerfully, and always growing. Thank you for watching this video. If this message spoke to you, take a moment to like, follow this channel, and share it with someone who needs encouragement in their journey of faith. Your support helps spread these teachings to more people who may feel like their small beginnings are unnoticed, but are actually deeply meaningful.